Welcome to Locked On Blues. I am so sick of being nice. I am over it. I am done. I am so over this one particular player that at this point, if the trade deadline were to be today, I would be okay letting this guy go without thinking twice about it. I'm going to talk more about this coming up here on Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My everydayers know I love to go live on YouTube. Honestly, it's because I can have an interaction with you on the YouTube chat. So make sure you're leaving your comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That way you and I can have a conversation. So on today's episode, I'm going to talk about the ugly loss of Toronto. Very ugly, by the way, especially when another team scores a hat trick on you, but we'll talk about it. Reset, rest, and redo. Yep. Hayes isn't the answer. Can you tell which player I am over at this point? I have given so much of my heart to opening up a little bit, letting players, try to prove me wrong. But when they continuously make the same mistakes on ice, and when I see bad hockey, I'm going to be upset. So, yes. Am I being a little bit dramatic? No, because at this point, he did it to himself. And I'm sorry, but that is the simple truth. And I'm just telling you what needs to be told. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. I hope everybody is having a good Wednesday. It is actually Valentine's today, but also the day before my birthday. So tomorrow I turn the big 25. The Blues also play tomorrow, so I'm hoping that they get me that dub. But again, I'll talk about that coming up. What I want to do right now is take you down memory lane against that ugly loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs because it was ugly, ugly, ugly. Now, I did say when another team scores a hat trick on you, it is disgusting. Now, I do see in the chat, I'm going to show this. Good thing Kings and Predators lost. Yep. And we are still tied with Kings. Yep. So, listen, I want Nashville to lose. I know that we were playing them on Saturday, so I am hoping that we're able to be the Oilers tomorrow. And then hopefully we beat the Preds. But we need to keep on winning. But I'm okay. I'm not okay with like the team losing, but I'm understanding if the team loses, right? You can't win like the rest of the 30-something games left. I would be very surprised if they did. But it is the way that they lost. It was bad hockey. Even Thomas was having an off night. But I'm going to talk about this game because I was at my wit's end when watching it, and I was actively frustrated. I was at a bar, I'll tell you this. And as I'm at the bar, I say to the bartender, I am so close to asking you to change channels just because I was fuming with how this team was playing. This team wasn't playing good hockey whatsoever. So in the first period, 5 minutes in, Bobby McMahon was able to get his first goal of the night. He ended up getting a hat trick, and then William Nylander got a goal too. So it was 2-0 after one period of play. Now, Alexei Torchenko, I have been liking what he's been doing. He got a goal, and he was actually assisted by Nathan Walker for his second assist of the season. And Matthew Kessel got his first ever point as a St. Louis Blue. So the one positive from that game, honestly, has to go to my boy Matthew Kessel. Other than that, over it. And then in the third period, Bobby McMahon was able to get those 2 other goals and got a hat trick. And his hat trick did come from an empty netter with about a minute left to go. So, when they pull the goalie, it's like it's done. But that's how the game was. And it just was an ugly game. There's not much I can say. The Blues barely put up any shots. They were awful in the face-off. There wasn't much good about it. I guess you can say, like, okay, maybe I'm being a little too hard on Torchenko. But listen, I'm frustrated here because this was just one of those ugly games. When a player gets their first career hat trick, obviously you're going to be like, okay, what are we doing wrong? And they just could not stop the Blues no matter what happened. And Binnington was in net. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't. And Shenny said after the game, we know we have to be a whole lot better. And I agree. But at the same time, hasn't that been the excuse all season? Now, I'm not trying to say that what Shen is saying is an excuse, but it just seems to me that all season it's like, we have to do better. We have to do better. It's like, okay, well, let's talk more specifically about what you need to do to be better. Now, luckily, the Blues will be coming to Philadelphia in early March, so coming up soon. And yeah, will I be going to their morning skate? Yeah. Will I be going to their practice? And then, morning skate practice, I'll go to a practice, I'll go to the game and I'll talk to them. I'll get the answers. Okay. I don't mind asking the players straight up, okay, Braden Shen, why do you think there is an issue on the ice when it comes to being down by a couple goals? What is it with the team that they can't build momentum? I don't mind asking it. Why can't you ever forecheck when it needs to be done? What's with taking no shots on goal and instead hesitating around net? I will ask him all of these questions because these are things that I want to know, but I'm getting a little too ahead. I'm getting angry. Ace, I just want to put this up here because that was very nice of you, Ace. Happy birthday tomorrow, Haley. Thank you so much. I'll still do an episode tomorrow, so I hope so. I think I will. But the point that I am trying to make here is this. It is okay to be frustrated. I am really frustrated. I am annoyed. I am angry. I am enraged. Honestly, I know that sounds dramatic, but everyone's like, oh, Drew Bannister is fixed to the St. Louis Blues. And in my head, I'm like, is he though? Now, yes, have the guys been playing better hockey under him? Sure. Yeah, you can make an argument. But the reason why I'm not so pro Bannister is because I haven't seen anything yet. There's still some of the same issues. Okay, sure, the power play got better. I'm not denying that. But is it significantly better? You know what I'm saying? It just seems to me like everybody just wants to be like, oh my God, this was our solution the whole time. It was Drew Bannister. And I'm like, okay, whoa. Your solution is to establish consistency. It's to be able to fight back when you're down by 2 or more than 2 goals. I mean, if you're down by 3 goals, like that's going to be pretty difficult. But if you're down by 2 goals, it is still possible to come back. And the problem with this team is you can tell when they lose their momentum, it becomes enraging because they're slow, they're making so many mistakes, too many turnovers. And, I could call out a lot of guys on the team. I don't think Jordan Kyrou had a good game last night, but I feel like everyone calls him out and he doesn't deserve all the heat. Robert Thomas, I told you already, I don't think he had a good game. And I did mention this a couple episodes before. I said when Robert Thomas doesn't have a good game, nobody has a good game. He is the foundation to the St. Louis Blues. So it is apparent that this team is able to establish their identity within themselves besides depending on one player to do so. I seem a little hard about it all. I seem a little bit, negative, but you can't tell me after that game last night you're not frustrated. And this brings me up into my point, and I know I talked about this in the beginning of the episode, and I'm going to talk about this more in detail, but at this point, you have the trade deadline coming up. What do you have to lose? Okay? You don't have a team that is a cup contending team, to tell you the truth. You have a playoff contending team, absolutely, but you don't have a cup contending team. There is a difference. I know that sometimes people are, oh, it's the same thing. There is a difference. Would it be so wrong if the St. Louis Blues said, you know what? We got him for basically nothing. He hasn't been playing all that great. Let's maybe see if we can move Kevin Hayes. Now, I know he has a no trade clause. I understand that. But when you read the fine print of these things, he just has a certain list of teams that he refuses to go to. They could still work something out and deal him, no problem. It's me a little bit more challenging, but I think that they could do it. The reason why I'm saying this, it's not just Kevin Hayes. It's Sammy Blais. I gave up, okay? Even at this point, Oscar Sundqvist, I love Oscar. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Sonny fan. Like, I just need better talent on this team. Come up with a bundle deal and do something. And, people are like, oh, draft picks. I don't want to wait for these guys. I want now. I want to have somebody that's going to come on this team and really get things going because you cannot just depend on Robert Thomas. And I also don't want to hear, oh, Jordan Binghamton isn't good. It's not his best season, okay? He's still a very good goalie. So I don't want to – I'm not coming on here to bash these players. I'm not. I'm obviously just a frustrated fan, and this podcast is an outlet for me to say I'm frustrated. But you know what doesn't make me frustrated? That is Gametime. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Last minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals are some of the things that Gametime offers. So you could be waiting in your car, and then it could be like the time of the event, and you're like, okay, time to go in. And then they have all of these amazing deals besides their tickets that are already a lower cost than like anything else. So I truly do love Gametime. And my favorite thing about Gametime, which makes this app so unique, you can see exactly where you're sitting as soon as you click on the little seat on the app. Okay. So there's no guesswork. You know what's going on. Like you can pre plan everything like me. Like I like to plan things with Gametime. You're able to plan. So again, Gametime, best app. I use it all the time. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So let's reset, rest, and redo. Haley, you're being calm. Okay, now I'm talking to myself, but yes, I am being calmer now. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, again, realistically, you cannot win every single game. It's impossible. It hasn't been done yet, folks. And I doubt the St. Louis Blues will be the first team to do so. So that's kind of out of the bag. But the reason why I am being, I guess, extra calm in a way is because the Blues, they're still in, fourth in the Central. Now, am I saying that's good? No. I mean, Nashville has 56. They're right behind St. Louis. But what I'm saying is it's fine. They had two big wins against the Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres. And then before the break, they did lose to the Blue Jackets, but they did have, a 5-game win streak. So while it is easy to say, oh, this team sucks again, the Blues don't suck. They had an off night. And the reason I'm upset, it's not just because of it's not because they lost, it's how they lost, okay? Don't get it twisted. There's two separate things when it comes to being a fan of the St. Louis Blues. It's accepting nothing but the worst and hoping for nothing but the best. That's the reality. But I think with this team coming back now to Enterprise, home always, for whatever reason, makes the St. Louis Blues play better. I think it's because of you guys in the crowd. But I think coming home, you're going to be going against one of the best teams in the NHL within the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, it's going to be challenging. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say this will be an easy game because it won't be. But at the same time, it's not impossible. This team has impressed me in so many ways this season. They have played such great, great, great hockey. And this will be a challenge, okay? The biggest problem that I have is about Nashville. Let's just say they win their game before they play the Blues. And then they both are tied. And then Saturday's game will be the determining factor. That will make me nervous. Now, obviously, it can change again. This isn't going to be like the final standings. But I want the Blues to have like a comfortable lead. I mean, right now, being fourth in the Central isn't great. It's good, not great. But if they can get to third in the Central, which I know, Haley, you're asking for way too much. I know. But it's okay to be unrealistic sometimes. Winnipeg does have 67 points, but anything can happen, right? It's hockey. I'm like, anything can happen. But sure, anything can happen. And tomorrow, I'm really hoping the Stars win because that's who Nashville is going to play. And Dallas obviously have 72 points leading the Central Division. Great hockey team. Should beat them. I am hoping that Dallas wins tomorrow. I don't think I ever have said that, but at this point, they're basically locked in, guaranteed a playoff spot, the Dallas Stars. I don't think there's any question about that. So I've accepted that. They might surprise us and begin losing every game. I doubt it. But right now, that's how it is. So I would much rather Dallas gain the 2 points. I don't want this 1 point. 2 points for Dallas in regulation. That's what I want as a St. Louis Blues fan. But it's going to be the battle of the Shen brothers. Like, I'm just so excited, okay? But we need to focus as a team and as a fan base, even though I know we don't have any control over the game, on making sure that they win tomorrow. Now, I do expect Jordan Binghamton to be in net tomorrow. I don't think they're going to put Joel Hofer in net against the Edmonton Oilers. Could you imagine? Connor McDavid would have a field day with that one, but I expect Spinner to be in net. I don't think the lines are going to change too much. I mean, nothing's out yet, but I would really encourage Drew Bannister, like really encourage him to have Hazy on left wing, because I just don't think he's that good of a center. And I will talk about that. But I think that they do have a chance of winning tomorrow. I mean, obviously they do. Edmonton's just a fast team offensively and defensively, and they have such great two-way defensive players. Our defensive players don't get me wrong, love Colton Parayko, love Nicoletti, Torrey Krug on my good side again, but they just don't have the skill and capability that Edmonton has, and that's the problem. So David M. said, if the Blues can't stop turning over the puck, then they will never mature as a team. And that is something I did talk about at the beginning of the episode, was how many turnovers they had in yesterday's game. They're too hesitant, and they don't seem to have great puck control either. So once they get possession, it's going to go away in a second, okay? Like, that's just the reality of this team. And that's why I'm going to talk about this in a second, about changes that this team needs to make. Because at the end of the day, I can come on here and I can complain and analyze and talk about the game, but nothing's going to be done until some big change gets made. Let me know who you think that you want to trade at the trade deadline, because I'm going to talk about that coming up. But first, I want to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all of your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. NBA season, get your parlays in. You already know. FanDuel is the absolute best, and nothing but love for FanDuel. Okay. Here I go. Kevin Hayes needs to go. He needs to go. Simple, flat out, he needs to go. He isn't doing anything that's benefiting this team. In my honest opinion, again, this has nothing to do with him as a person. I'm just saying, as a player on the St. Louis Blues, a part of me feels like he is making this team worse. I don't think that third line looks good whatsoever. I think that third line is actually the weakest line that we have out there. I would even make the argument that our fourth line is better than our third line. And the reason why I'm upset saying this, it's because Kevin Hayes is a good guy, okay? He's endured a lot, and, you know, he went through some tough times, not just this season, but in the past couple seasons in his personal life. And I hate being that person that comes on and is like, okay, this player needs to go. But at the same time, I also need to do my due diligence of being a host for this team on this podcast. And I just want to be honest with you. And then when you look at that third line, it doesn't get any better. You have Sammy Blais, who I also can make the argument that he needs to go. Braden Saad, honestly, he's fine. He's like the only guy on that line that I'm like, okay, that's better. You look at that fourth line. You have Oscar Sundqvist, Alexei Torchenko, and Nathan Walker, who are solid. Second line, Braden Shen centering. Then you have Neighbors and Kyrou, which I did like that switch up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Putting Kyrou down, because I'll tell you, Robert Thomas being winged by Pavel Buchnevich and Kasperi Kapanen honestly makes so much sense. I think Kyrou plays better with Shen. I do, and that's my theory. Neighbors, Shen, Kyrou, boom, magic. Love that. I just feel like at this point, if the Blues were to break up, because we're going to talk some Valentine's Day analogy, if the Blues were to break up with a player, it would be Kevin Hayes. Sammy Blais, another weak link. Now, When you talk about my boys on defense, you have Nick Leddy, Colton Parayko, solid. Torrey Krug, Matt Kessel, love them together. Marco Scandella and Kale Rosen. Scandella I could see going to. I'm not too attached to him. And, I'm going to be honest. I am doing what I'm doing as your host, and I'm being honest. I don't want you to think that I'm telling you this is who is going. This is my opinion of who I think could go. Obviously, Doug Armstrong is going to do whatever Doug Armstrong does, okay? I don't make the decisions here for the St. Louis Blues. But I'm observing, and as observing and being a fan, I just truly think that these are the weaker links. Now, do I think they could get things out of Kevin Hayes? Maybe. But again, I will break that down probably on Friday's episode of who I think the Blues could retain and who they could get for these guys that they potentially were to be traded. And yeah, we're going to talk some hypothetical, but I think that this is an important conversation to have. So again, let me know what you think. Do you think I'm being a little bit too harsh on Kevin Hayes, or do you think that, hey, I get what you're saying? He's slow on the ice, makes some really bad plays, and his line looks awful. That's the truth. So the St. Louis Blues need to trade Kevin Hayes as soon as possible, I think. And it is what it is. That's the nature of the game. I hate to be that way, but it is what it is. So that is all. So tomorrow is my birthday. I don't know if I'll be doing an episode tomorrow and then a bonus episode on the weekend. I might do a bonus episode on Sunday instead of doing it tomorrow. It depends. Busy day tomorrow. But I also love talking about the St. Louis Blues. So I don't know what's going on yet, but I will keep you posted on Twitter. All right. It was so good talking to you. I got one more comment from Senna who says, trade him, agree. You already know. All right. I will talk to you tomorrow as the Blues get ready to host the Edmonton Oilers. Wish us luck on that one. All right. Bye, guys. And like always, let's go Blues.